Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the February 22nd, 2023 Whitesburg Unified School District Board meeting. I'm calling this meeting to order at 5:03 p.m. Wendy, do we have any public comments on closed session items?
We do not have any public comments.
All right, seeing none, we will now adjourn from closed session and reconvene to open session at 6 o'clock p.m. Thank you, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the February 22nd, 2023 Whitesburg Unified School District Board meeting. I'm calling this meeting to order at 6:02 p.m. We have a full agenda this evening. We have three special presentations. Our first special presentation will be from Ms. Christina Joubert, talking about the summer camps coming up at Whitesburg Da Vinci. We have a second presentation by Dr. Eileen Hardback with regards to our LCAP menu report. Looking forward to that. And our last presentation this evening will be on the bond program update from the NAZ team, Noemi Avila. So excited about that. At this time, Wendy, would you please take roll call? And if you notice, we're a little light this evening, but we do have a quorum. Unfortunately, Michelle and Rebecca are unable to attend this evening.
Mr. Ben Willows.
Present.
Dr. Goldman.
Present.
Mr. Martinez.
Present.
And Ms. Cappy and Mr. Gatsby are. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy. And Monique, could you do the honors of leading us in the first place?
Right hand over your heart, ready to get.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey. So you do have two items to report this evening at a closed session, so I will start now with the first item. In closed session, the board took action to issue a notice of non-reelection to a probationary certificated employee identified by number TF 4630310 pursuant to Education Code Section 44929.21B, effective at the end of the 2023-24 school year, and directed the superintendent or designee to send out appropriate legal notice. The roll call vote was as follows: 3 yeses and no no's. Sorry about that, and 2 absent. Second item, in closed session, the board took action to issue notice releasing non-reelecting employee number MF 5318528, a probationary certificated administrative employee pursuant to Education Code Section 44951 and 44929.21B, effective June 30th, 2024, and directed the superintendent or designee to send out appropriate legal notices. The roll call vote was as follows: 3 yeses, 2 and 0 no's, and 2 absent. Thank you. And that will now lead us to adopting the agenda. Do I have a motion?
Question, but
Yes.
give a motion.
Thank you, Roger.
Question is that Dr. Silver, will there be an update on math in Dr. Harvick's presentation on the LCAP that's on today? Because prior board meeting, I requested that we have a math update at every meeting and for it to be agendized, but it's not on the agenda.
What was
March
it?
14th.
I think we had planned March 14th, primarily because we had a lot of presentations today and also because we're missing 2 board members.
So we do have one, but we need to bring it in March 14th.
So that's the special ed.
No, we're doing a math update as well. So yes, there will be a special ed update, but as well as math update.
Okay.
We have 2 presentations at the next board meeting, at least 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
You want one every meeting or once a month?
I'd like it on the agenda to discuss every meeting, yes.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions?
That's it.
All in favor on the adoption of the agenda?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, Wendy, do we have any comments from the public on non-agenda items? Okay. All right, Blake, I will turn it over to you now for our first presentation, and I think, Christina, you may want to.
So first presentation, Christina Joubert is here with us today. We're gonna have a little bit of an update. First, I want to just thank Christina for her work on lots of things. We're really looking at this today, especially the Weisburn Da Vinci Summer Program, an opportunity to provide a service to the community in a joint fashion as a partner with Da Vinci Schools, as well as provide WEF and the DVSF boards or funds, basically a chance to find ways to raise more money. Maybe not this year, but in coming years, hopefully we can scale it.
Welcome, Christina.
Thank you for having me here and allowing the opportunity to just give an update on it. We have enrollment. I think that's the most important thing. Enrollment opens March 1st for Weisburn and Da Vinci families. So if you have a child that goes to a Weisburn school or Da Vinci school, we're doing a special enrollment period, March 1st through March 15th. And then enrollment will open for the general public on March 16th. Camp is $350. Oh, I guess I'm gonna scroll down, sorry. But I'm gonna have that moment that I watch everyone else out. There it is. Camp is $350 for the younger program. So we have a 4th through 8th grade program, and then we have a high school program. As some of you may know, we surveyed families back, I think in December, it was. And the district sent out an email, Da Vinci sent out an email, and Weisburn Education Foundation sent out an email. And 685 kids from 513 families responded saying they were interested and would most likely join camp in the summer if we offered it. So Gary with Da Vinci Schools Fund has had criteria. First, we need kids, then we need facilities, then we need coaches, and we need to not lose money. So those are the criteria that we all agreed to when we set this up. And we've all been working in incredible partnership with each other, and I've been really amazed to see it all come together and just really proud of our district, proud of the schools and the leaders in the schools. Financial aid is available for all families that are eligible for it, and we've sent out notifications. The camp is 6 weeks long, 4 days a week, 4 hours a day for our youth camp. Our high school camp started out with that frame, but it's changed a little bit as coaches have signed on with availability and facilities. And so all that will be up on the website come March 1st. Staffing, as of today, I can proudly report that we are almost fully staffed. The only thing that we are missing is potentially volleyball at the high school level. We haven't quite figured that out because that's when their season also starts and they're practicing normally. So we're playing around with some opportunities and schedules there, but our youth program is fully staffed, and the coaches, with the exception of the volleyball coach, all the coaches are the varsity coaches for our high schools. So the younger kids will be able to participate there. And I just want to do a shout out to all those coaches that have agreed to do it. Like their grace and their generosity with willing to do it, and their excitement with wanting to be able to connect with the younger kids. Everyone, but we wanted to do it for years. And they're so happy to do it. So I'm very happy, very grateful for that. As it says, CDSF will be the employer of record. So we'll have employment agreements, compensation, payroll taxes, everything will be paid through their insurance. And as Blake said, we don't anticipate large profits this year. The price is extraordinarily low, as y'all know. And that being said, we're going to try and do the best we can. It is a pilot program. We're hoping to be able to continue it year after year. And any profits that are there will be split between Weisburn Education Foundation and Da Vinci Schools Fund. So both of the foundations that support the organizations for the benefit of the kids and families.
Great.
Any questions on it? Anything I missed, Blake?
No, really got one question, Christina. So obviously I noticed the summer athletic camps. In the past, Da Vinci's done some like STEM camps and robotics. Are there any plans for that?
Thank you for asking that. Yeah, we're still, Da Vinci's still doing all of the same camps. They have the ceramics camp, there'll be the robotics camp. The dates are going to change a little bit because we don't want to compete with any of the other camps. And so we're hoping that we can create a scenario that, let's say if a camp was kindergarten to 5th grade last year, that this year maybe kindergarten to 3rd, or it'll happen in the afternoon so the kids can go to this camp in the morning and then have the opportunity to go there. So again, the first year isn't gonna be perfect, like everyone's having to bend and flex a bit. But we're hoping that it's gonna be a really great experience. And we also have Right at School, who's agreed to do an after-school care program at Aviation. So the youth program will happen at the middle school. And then Right at School does their program at Aviation, and they'll just walk through a fence. They're gonna put together special pricing for those families that need extended care. They can't just drop off for 4 hours during the summer. And they'll do special pricing from noon to 6 p.m.
Okay. With regards to like the stands and the robotics, I know some parents have reached out to me inquiring about that. Is that gonna be posted at some point, like in
Yeah, so
March or?
The goal is that it's all up on the summerandwiseburn.org website by March 1st. That's the goal. The reality may be that some may trickle on, but we have a communication plan for that of like, hey, new camp posted, and we may find that the community really wants more and more. And so can we build more in the next 4 or 5 months? Probably, if there's demand and space and a teacher willing to do it, and yeah.
Okay.
And we also at the middle school, we're budgeting for security. So some of the security team from Da Vinci will be there on campus. A certified nurse's assistant will be on site. We're budgeting for a program manager to oversee the whole program at both locations, as well as at the Connect school for the baseball program. So we're staffing to ensure that safety is paramount. And then we have a robust check-in, check-out process and a process for indicating if there's injuries or incident reports.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Just a comment, not a question, but I want to say thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for putting this together and everybody that's been involved. It's so nice to see both of the foundations working together collaboratively for the benefit of all of our students. I think it's wonderful, and it really brings the community together again. Nothing like having great sports and activities and things to bring us all together. So thank you. Thank you.
My
for all the hard-
pleasure. Yeah. On behalf of everybody that's been working on it, and Blake's been on all the calls, Matt's been on all the calls, like on behalf of everybody, though, the whole team. It's been a beautiful, and it's been an honor really to be a part of seeing it come together and feeling the excitement around it. So thank you guys for being part of it and being willing to make it happen. And for having the facilities to do it.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Perfect.
Right. So I think,
You want me to do an intro for you?
that's okay.
All right. Sorry. Who is this? I had all the whole note.
All right, good evening. We're here tonight to talk to you about our mid-year LCAP report, and this is for the LCAP that was written back in 2021. It started in actually July of 21. It's a 3-year plan. So, this thing is touchy, I didn't. All right, there we go.
The arrow makes it.
There we go. Okay, so
It
tonight.
has a delay a little.
All right, thank you. Tonight we'll be talking about the LCAP in general, its purpose, why we have a mid-year report, and then how the LCAP supports our overall cohesive planning here in the district. We also want to talk about the LCAP structure just briefly and the budget. We'll talk a little bit about the metric and action highlights, and then finally what we're doing right now to build our new LCAP. So the LCAP mid-year is actually part of a Senate bill. We are required to come before you in February to report mid-year on our annual update. The annual update we'll be writing between now and the end of the year, and this is actually submitted with the new LCAP. We do this every year. It's an accountability piece. The mid-year, on the other hand, is simply a presentation. There's nothing we need to turn in, but it is mandated that's in the board agenda item. So tonight we'll give you all the data. We are mandated to talk about the expenditures and so forth. And so attached to the agenda is a more thorough template that outlines all of our expenses and that. And they really are interested in how we spent the money and in our metrics. So for the purposes of tonight, though, I'm going to provide some slides that give a pretty good overview. We do have a cohesive strategic plan here in Wiseburg. We start with our district mission. Of course, our board of trustees then with our priorities and assurances, keeping that solid. That feeds to our LCAP and our single plan for student improvement at each site. We carry those assurances forward. And those two reports or plans go in then to our principal collaborative time, our PCT. And that then, that planning time goes into our guiding coalitions on the sites along with our core or community of respect and empathy. From there, we coordinate our teacher collaboration time, our grade level meetings, our staff meetings, our professional development days, and our how-to, which isn't listed there, but you know that's 3 times a year that we have that going.
Just a quick question. Are the guiding coalition participants and the core participants distinct?
They are distinct, although if someone volunteers to be on both, they can. The meetings are held separately.
Thank you.
The LCAP structure is made up of 3 sections. You have your educational partner and engagement. That's our surveys, our LCAP meetings, our PTA presentations, and so forth. We have a survey out right now for the LCAP to our families, hoping to engage more families in that and participation in that survey. And goals and our progress indicators, which are actually called metrics, and then our action services and the expenditures.
Thank you to everyone. I want to say thank you to Dr. Harbeck because this is a partnership as we do this work together. It's important that fiscal and ed services are working together cohesively. The slide you see here is from the budget overview for parents. That was in the LCAP document that you approved back in June. Again, it just shows you how the left side is our total budget of expenditures, about $38 million. And then of course, LCFF, if you take that one piece, which is at 70% on the left side, and pull it to the right, how is that broken down? You'll see that 66% is that other LCFF funds, and then that little sliver that is about 5% is our supplemental funding. And again, that will represent our unduplicated, that UPP count, roughly about 934 students, and I want to say 37%. Those students earn roughly the base funding, and of course 20% above that. The next slide. And here is, we have our total budget, which was that left side, and then you'll see here on the right side, this is the total budget expenditures in the LCAP money. I'm sorry, the left, yeah. So the 13 million is what this actual LCAP plan that was adopted articulates. And so that's the total expenditures that the actual LCAP plan we're going to talk about today. So here's the budget expenses. On the left side, you'll see the LCAP budgeted by goal. And remember, these goals are aligned to, safety. You'll see that goal 1, we have the whole child, goal 2, 3, future ready, and then 4, that is our community collaboration, our DEI initiative, and then of course 5 is our organizational strength. That left side is the total that is budgeted by each goal. The right side is that supplemental. And again, goal 5 shows 0 because, that would be the contributing for those unduplicated services. And those are more organizational goals like accounting, audit, and infrastructure.
So it's aligning with our pillars.
Correct.
Yeah, those are pillars.
The next few slides go over all of our, each one of those assurances. And it's just really a breakdown. I'm hoping tonight just to highlight a couple of things. This isn't totally comprehensive, but if you're looking at the top left, it says metrics, and below it are the 3 areas where we pulled the data. Now this data is from 2023. So past data, the California dashboard, which just came out in December, that is a little bit older data, it's from 23-24. So on the right, it just shares with you if we met it, if we've already met it, or if we're still in progress. So most of our metrics tonight are either going to be in progress or met if we can find, the data for that. And then below that are the actions for safety, things that we have put into play. And I'll just point out that in each one of these, we have supported our unduplicated pupil percentage or population. So on this list, middle school campus monitoring is supported by that UPP money, that supplemental money. For our whole child, far more extensive. I think we have 19 different actions here we go through. But if you're looking up at the top, that again tells you our MET and how we sustained that wonderful, robust music program with children self-selecting the classes at the middle school. Below we have just a lot of, this was a popular assurance when we went to our committee. But we do have the reading intervention, the math intervention, school counseling, community resources are all supported by our supplemental funding. And then for Future Ready, just point out here that we do want to highlight that we have the Guiding Coalition still going. And our common assessments have expanded. So this is really one of our assurances that expanded during the 3 years that this program was going. With our math specialists being added there on the right. That was a change just this year in our LCAP. And then overall, really successful, if you want to look at the next one as well, our community collaboration. Really not a lot of changes going on over these 3 years, which just speaks to the fact that it was a very solid plan, even though it was written really during school closure. We did it on Zoom with our committees, but we put together a very solid plan that we could live with for 3 years all the way through. And of course, that last, I think we get to it. we have the diversity, equity, and inclusion coordinator. That's part of our supplemental funding as well. And then finally, our organizational strength. There's a little bit of a stretch here. We know the importance of it, but we want to make sure we had metrics designed that really supported what we were doing with our, not just our finances, but our enrollment. And we do look at that very closely in our attendance. So that, of course, has been highlighted this year. So glad to have had that in our LCAP and that we're following that. And then just looking ahead, we are in the process now of building our new LCAP. Over on the left, we started in February and March with our educational partner outreach. We had our committee meeting. We've had just over 30 people here just last week. Had a really great activity looking at our existing actions and determining which we would carry forward and which maybe we could let go or diminish. And then we move, and of course, our surveys are out there too with the students and the families and our teachers as well. In April, we will be going back to the committee with a draft and bringing it forward then after that to the board in May and then for approval in June. We do take it to LACO in April too for a first look. I like to give it to our partners at the LA County Office of Education twice for 2 looks to make sure that we have everything where it should be for accountability purposes. And that is our mid-year. Any questions?
Yeah. Perfect. Question on, so this report is from the LCAP that was developed in 21. It's for the period of 2021 through 2024.
The end of this.
The end of this.
The end of this school year.
Okay, so the district's also in progress of developing the new LCAP.
Right.
So, I think I just answered your question, but in the, in goal number 2 for the whole child, not that behind, the whole child.
I know.
We are not doing that. For the record. I see on this report, the goal, under the mathematics was to, decrease students not meeting the math standards by 2%. At our last meeting in January, on the 18th, we talked about rebenching and resetting that goal to 5%.
Right.
So the new LCAP that's being developed now will reflect the new updated goals, right?
Absolutely, and that's a 3-year goal. So every year we have to go back to it, see where we're at, we've surpassed it or we've met it. And we have to report that and you'll see met, not met. Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to the presentation and that we're gonna have also on math because I'd like to make sure that we set appropriately aggressive goals. Because I think the more aggressive or the higher standards and expectations that we set for ourselves, we will stretch to try to achieve those. So I'm really looking forward to that presentation and again, make the ask in terms of the programs because I think it's incredibly important for us to focus on that.
Thank you. I do appreciate that. And our metrics will be coming back to you and we'll just, and to our committee as well. And I know Ms. Nitsos handles all of our metrics and is engaged in that and making sure that we really let go. This year is a little bit different. You know, we have to look for this new 3-year LCAP. We have to look at any time the dashboard showed a red or an orange, anything like that, that we absolutely have that in the LCAP that we're addressing that aggressively. And our metrics then align. So we started with a logic model to make sure that anything that we put in the LCAP has a metric to match it. So there's this LCAP, we didn't do that. So we'll make sure that the next one has a metric for every single action so we can measure it.
Excellent. Thank you.
A couple things to that point. As I'm looking at this, I'm noticing we're seeing potentially trends. We're seeing have we met, have we not met? It would be wonderful if, and in the next iteration, if we could build a spreadsheet scorecard to go with this. And I'm laughing.
No, I'm just.
Because I've talked about this before. But I'm looking at that. Hey, how is this? I'm having to do the math myself. Is this? Are we up? Are we down? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it how are we doing? And if we simply had red, yellow, green, or blue for neutral, we know instantly.
You know,
On another note, I believe we've talked in the past that California Healthy Kids Survey is now being expanded to multiple grades. I'd love to see, I know, I think we're talking about in March, I think, love to see those findings. I want to see all the data, but that one in particular, I'm really curious about.
All.
Yeah.
We'll present those findings, I'm thinking, right? Yeah.
that closes this month.
Yeah, we'll
Closes
definitely.
the end of this month. So we
This is asking for.
Green, yellow.
Green, yellow, red, blues, nothing, don't have results. All right.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Great job.
I just have one comment, Dr. Harbeck. I wanted to thank you for the mid-year report. thank you for the exceptional leadership and really an attention to detail that is involved in the LCAP and the meetings that have been taking place to get to this point as well. In looking at the whole child in the future ready slides and particularly the action in progress, it's amazing the amount of work and I appreciate the support that's going in to meet all those diverse needs, really the diverse needs of our students. So, and how everything's aligned to our educational goals. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Actually, pretty inspiring document.
It is.
Yeah, well done.
Thank you.
All right.
Can I at least do an intro here?
Yes. NAC.
No, so I mean, the only thing I just wanted to share was that we actually have a pretty significant update. It's been a while since we brought this back to the board. We are approaching our CBOC, our next Citizens Bond Oversight Committee meeting, in early March. And so I did ask Noemi, just because it's a lot, that we're splitting this up into two. So we're gonna provide kind of a half update today, and then we'll do the second half with the 14 presentations we have at the next board meeting. So I think I failed miserably at this, but we did want to cut it in half because it's just gonna be really long.
And it's still gonna be long.
It's still gonna be long.
Good evening, Board of Trustees, Dr. Silvers, members of the audience. Happy to be back to provide bond program update number 8. So these are the topics. Don't be fooled just because we only have a couple line items here. Doesn't mean that it's going to be short. There's quite a bit of slides to review, but we'll start with our Measure E project updates. Then we'll focus on our non-bond funded projects, which are the solar projects, and then we'll conclude with next steps. Our first project is the network infrastructure project. This is phase 2 of 3. Just a quick reminder, phase 1 was the purchase of the network equipment. Phase 2 is the interior improvements to the data center, the building envelope itself. And then phase 3 is the network infrastructure complete overhaul. Now we'll focus on phase 3 at the next board meeting on March 14th. But for tonight, really, this is our only focus in terms of the network infrastructure project. For the data center improvements project, the architect is NAC Architects. The projects were submitted to DSA December 14th. We are very close. We have received comments. Comments have been addressed. We're very close to receiving DSA approval. We expect to have it hopefully by next week, if not the first week of March. We had a bid opening today, as you can see, February 22nd. I'm very pleased to report that we did not receive any bids. And you're looking at me like, why are you happy that you did not receive bids? In this case, we are happy because it's such a small project. As you can see, total budget allocation, hard and soft costs is $200,000. So you can imagine just construction alone is anywhere from 100 to about 130 is the cost estimate that we received. We didn't have a whole lot of coverage to begin with. We had a mandatory job walk on January 18th. And the 2 potential bidders that did show up, they don't have a great reputation. In fact, they were throwing out comments like, oh, well, I'll address it via change order immediately without even reviewing the plans yet. So we were happy that they did not bid the project. Because what that does is that it now allows the district the flexibility to contract directly with their preferred contractor and to negotiate that amount, that contract. Sheree immediately, the minute she saw that there were no bids, she started calling companies of our preference, of our choice, the contractors that we have worked with, and she's already on it. So we will continue to push. So in this particular case, this is actually good news. We're still on track. Our goal is to find a contractor and agree to a price and bring it to the March 14th potential recommendation for award. Yes,
Are we still looking at what is that, June, July 24 deadline?
we are. That for actual construction would be April 1st, the start of construction, and we'll be done with construction by May 31st. Closeout is just like getting warranties, training, and that portion of it. But the actual construction is a 2-month period from April through end of May.
And I again want to compliment you and thank you for the Gantt chart, because boy, that makes this easier. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. If no other questions, Del Air Elementary School roof replacement project.
This is separate from the Del Air Modernization and Safety and Security Project, which I'll bring and discuss at the next board meeting. Again, for this site, we're only focusing on the roof replacement. The design standard identified Garland Roofing, which is provides a 30-year warranty. As you may recall, our team pushed to purchase the material to lock in the 2023 CMAS pricing before the prices went up on January 1st, which resulted in a savings of $240,000. We also proceeded to bid the project for two reasons. One, to obviously lock in the price of, again, $2023, but also more importantly, to secure roofing contractors, which, as you know, Roger has to know, roofers during summer are very difficult to find. So the fact that we bid the project in 2023, we now have signed contracts. A contract was awarded last month, January 18th, to Best Contracting Services. It resulted in an additional savings of $290,000. So we are on track to start construction on the roof replacement project as soon as school is out, and will be done before school resumes.
Great, thanks.
And here is an aerial of the roofs. All the green areas reflect the roofs that will be replaced, which, as you can see, it's essentially every roof. Those blue areas are shade structures. They're not buildings.
Lunch area, right?
Correct. Going fast, so if you need to slow me down, please let me know. Our next,
Keep moving.
okay, great. The next project is 135th and Aviation Sports Complex. Our architect for this project is PBK. We're currently in the design development phase of the process. There's a lot of surveying for this type of project. We have contractors for geotechnical. At the same time, we are working with our environmental specialists, conducting the California Environmental Quality Act assessment, because this is a change in use of the site. So both of those critical processes are underway. We also started the process of placing the legal ads for lease-leaseback procurement. This will be a lease-leaseback delivery method project. You can see the budget allocation there. It's $12.4 million, $9.3 million for hard costs, $3.1 for soft costs. This is in line currently with the initial cost estimate that we received during schematic design, which came in at roughly $9.8 million for a total of $12.4. So we're right on track currently. But as some of you know, as we start to further develop the drawings, especially into the design development and the construction documents phases, generally prices do seem to go up a bit. So that's why it's imperative that we bring the lease-leaseback builder at this stage of the design process to help us identify any inconsistencies in the plans, errors and omissions, cost estimating, constructability review, the whole thing.
So, and Noemi, we did, I don't wanna say overdo, but I do notice, I know you're gonna I think you're gonna show some renderings.
Yes.
But I do notice a lot of lighting, not saying that it's too much lighting, but it looks like a lot, and then we also have some batting cages, so there is some room for VE a little bit.
Correct. And part of the lease-leaseback process, preliminary services, that's all we're doing right now. We're contracting for preliminary services. As soon as we're done with the design development phase, the builder will provide a cost estimate. These are from actual contractors, contractors. So they're much more reliable than a cost estimate from an architect, which is for projects this size, it's imperative again that we bring in that level of expertise. But like Blake said, there is some room for potential descoping or reduction in.
Does GMP come into this at all?
It does, but not until a much later phase. Right now, we're bringing them in only for pre-construction services, to assist us through the design development and construction documents phase. And then
When we get to contract.
correct. Then at the end, once we have the approval of plans, then we go into GMP.
No, I mean,
Yes.
has the RFP itself been released for the lease-leaseback contractors or not?
Just the legal ad.
Just yet, okay.
So here are some of the very preliminary renderings. It's not completely set in stone, but something for you guys to look at. This is the main front entry. It provides a focal point and a main entrance to the sports complex. This would be off of the Whitebird Middle School parking lot.
Looking west, from the Wiseman Middle School park.
Correct. And you'll see it in more detail, but pay attention, you'll start noticing all the Musco lighting. Now, there is a lot of engineering involved. Musco, in fact, has been involved throughout the engineering process. And they base it on what type of field, what type of use, so they know how to, how to appropriately, place the lighting strategically.
To that point,
Yes.
having seen these drawings before, these lights are placeholders to give us an idea, they're not actual placement.
They're placeholders, but they may potentially, as the design further develops, they may end up here, but we don't know yet. It's still too early to tell.
So I just want to say too, and Naomi, I'm just gonna point it out again, the gray area that's in between the
Yeah.
two, the two softball field or baseball field, softball field, and then kind of around, it's all
Right there.
actually gonna be turf as well.
Right.
It's just showing it to show distinction between the two fields, so.
And it might just
you know.
be gray colored turf, just something to
Uh,
provide a distinction between actual fields. You can still use it. I mean, these are the little things that have
Good idea.
continued to be further developed.
Noemi, if you could just kind of go over, like, this is CIF's approved soccer field. And then
Correct. And-
you highlight the softball field, it's just so the community can.
Exactly, and if you recall, this is a full CIF approved soccer field, plus it has it'll be striped for two U9 soccer smaller fields. So you'll have multi-use here as well. Then we have Little League and softball out there. I'm sorry, this is not cooperating.
And I think too, to note that softball field actually is in CIF size softball field, so the event
Yes.
that we needed to play a high school softball game there, it
Gosh,
would fit.
So,
And these are the batting cages right there. There'll also be dugouts. There's another batting cage over by where the
South side,
building.
yeah.
Yes, thank you. I can't get this pointer to work. And I'll keep moving and see different angles.
again, that white covered building is that's what we saw a moment ago.
Yes, that's the main entry to the building. It's not fully designed. Right now they're just placing a box. But you saw the potential of what that front entry building
Come
was.
on, this is gorgeous. Come on. Come on.
Oh, sorry,
It's beautiful.
pressing it and it's moving.
And so the Musco lighting right now, it seems like obviously there's a lot of lighting.
Yeah.
Still kind of conceptual at
It
this
is.
point, okay.
We are in mid-design development stages. These renderings were provided a couple of weeks ago. Like I said, I know Musco for a fact has been very involved in the process. We may still be able to eliminate a couple of the poles just because of the perimeter. That's still to be determined. And part of the reason why these renderings were also important, not only to obviously show you and then start showing the community, but they're part of the assessment process for CEQA. They were looking for, the number of light poles and just proximity to other buildings. They look at noise, noise, lighting, traffic, air quality.
Is the infield also turf?
Everything is
The whole thing's
going
turf,
to be
okay.
turf. But it's, again, turf that color, so that you can create distinction, but it's durable.
And I don't know if you remember the answer to this question because we found it odd initially, but the softball field is not equally distributed. And there was a reason for that. It isn't equal distance. I don't think. The right field, left field are different.
They are, I can't.
There was some reason for that.
Yes, I
That
can't
would be-
recall, I'm sorry.
We should know that again.
Yeah.
The links, yeah.
I will.
So that's not only, it looks that way, but it
Yeah.
was actually that way.
Right.
I remember there was a reason. I don't remember what it is.
And Noemi, there's, the restrooms are towards the entrance.
Yes, right off of they're in that main building, right off of the Weisberg Middle School parking lot. There will be another, smaller parking lot next to the M&O building. But I believe there was only about 40 vehicles in comparison to a lot more in the upper lot.
The sports complex looks great.
Can you back up one
Yes.
second? One question that came in our facilities meeting was signage
Yes.
this is the most visible thoroughfare in our district on aviation.
You mean permanent
Is
signage?
there any kind of announcement, like
You go back.
bulletin,
Go back to.
Oh, yes.
board, what do you
I think-
a digital board, digital something, is that?
I think what Neil's referring to is possibly a sign there.
Banner?
No,
Oh.
almost like a marquee.
Marquee, that's what I'm looking
Yes.
for.
Right there on the,
Oh, we have a lot of scoreboards, but you want an actual marking.
right, you know,
Not a
that's,
lot of scoreboards, but we have like 4.
that came up, in conversation the other day and.
And remember, the building,
Right,
it looks small here, but it'll be easily identifiable as the Weisburn Sports Complex.
I'm more about, this is an amazing opportunity to communicate with the community.
the one.
Messaging.
Messaging.
I like that. Okay.
Go back to that last,
I think he's thinking that corner of 135th
Yeah.
and aviation right there.
I mean, this is,
He's got it right there.
right.
and probably here.
Yeah, inside.
So-
That's fine.
So what I'm hearing from the board is we need to cut costs and also add costs. No, I'm just, what,
What we're hearing from the board is a donation or fundraising.
Right, you're right. So, but
Come back and we're over budget.
I'm being serious on that far side, so I guess it would be the east side. How about that, Nelson? So Neil, if we did it like on the far, because if you have a big marquee, you'll get pretty good coverage. I think a lot of our families are turning right or left onto 135th to go to some of our schools. Maybe we put something at the east, almost at the parking lot where Dana is, tilted a little bit. So I know it's not right on that front corner, but I feel you may get more readability
I think maybe the conversation is put that into the equation.
into something like that.
Absolutely.
That's not, the communicating with the community in addition to inward facing.
Don't listen to us for location, I mean, for sure.
You just spend
It's a
them.
3 hours.
Okay,
This looks great.
moving on. You guys have been asking for banners and I apologize it took so long. We were waiting for some nice renderings to include in the banners. The banners have been ordered. We confirmed today that we received a PO and they're in the print queue. We should have these printed and installed by next week. At both the 135th and Aviation Sport Complex and at the Weisburn High School soccer field, which that's next. And this is what the banners will look like. And it already includes Michelle's name as well. Okay, moving on to Weisburn High School soccer field. As a reminder, at a previous board meeting, the board approved moving forward with only the field at this time. We are designing and submitting, we have submitted the plans to DSA for the entire thing, including the bleachers and the scoreboard, just so that we have it approved. So in the event that there's fundraising or money becomes available at a later date, at least we have the DSA approval. It's much easier to do that now. As I mentioned, we submitted the plans to DSA on January 29th. We anticipate receiving DSA approval by the end of April. We are working on purchasing actually by the next board meeting, you should be seeing an item come before you, asking you for authorization to purchase the material, the carpet and the shock pads under the CMAS. At the same time, we have started the procurement, the bid. This is a design bid build project because of the size of the project. We will be bidding all of the site work, basically all the site prep, utilities, underground utilities, irrigation, grading, and then the installation will be performed under the CMAS.
Yeah, sorry, so I just wanted to show this is actually the product that we're looking at currently, that we're just doing some final research on. It's called a pivot turf.
It's a no infill, heavy threading, so it actually has all of, like, a lot of the plastics that go into it and the rubbers that are in. The infill, this doesn't have those. And so it's a much cleaner product, actually a really good playing surface, from what I understand. I mean, at least that's what the salespeople told me. No,
But I am looking at, going to visit at least one field. They actually have 10 fields now in the Dallas, Texas area. And several fields in Fayetteville in the Arkansas area. So it's heavy in the Midwest, South, and then some to the east. So I am before we bring this to the board, I will see this field in like action, so to speak, before we bring a
They have one
recommendation
at
back.
Fresno State here.
They have, well, it's not as a field though, it's as it's like the halo behind a baseball diamond, so it's not actually a playable surface yet. So I'm gonna have to go see a playable surface.
And just the no infill alone, that is a huge win. There's not, and you can see the difference of the superior product. You can see the difference of the pivot, which is superior product in comparison to the typical one that a lot of the other firms provide currently, which require even organic infill or rubber.
Let me, quick question, you said that, obviously we approved the field only. What's, can you just, share with us what is left out? I mean, obviously the bleachers.
Bleachers and the scoreboard,
and
that's it.
scoreboard.
You'll see the renderings.
I noticed Mr. Vicente Bravo is in the audience, so I know the bleachers are very important.
I'm still trying to convince them to pay for them.
My own business.
He's like, great, no one's gonna ask me to pay for them again.
He does want
Make a comment
Yes.
about how excited I am about the possibility, not that we've made decisions yet, but the possibility of the pivot is that in our research and communication with the community, particularly soccer moms, literally,
Yes,
were sharing us not only health concerns of rubber, but also the heat.
yes.
And the fact that this would have none of those issues is incredibly exciting, especially if we can do it cost effectively. So thank you very much.
Right.
Excited to see that.
And Blake failed to mention that he already negotiated a significant discount in the price list that they provided, a reduction of $120,000. Actually, more than that, because the initial proposal was short by 1,000 square feet. I made them raise it to the correct square footage that we required, and they did not change the price. They kept it the same. So we are very pleased.
Very exciting, very exciting.
No, I mean, like, my understanding is this product actually comes with a longer warranty.
Yes, 12 years versus the typical 10.
Excellent.
From 8 to 10 is the typical.
And is your.
If you see 8 to 10, this one is 12 years. It's that much more superior.
That's
And you feel it. You see, the minute, you don't even have to touch it. Just by looking at it, it's obvious.
I wanted them to feel it, but nobody took me up on it.
We can run on it later. Great.
You can step on it, love it. There you go.
So this is another project that we're on track as I mentioned, we're gonna start the bidding process. We started the bidding process and we're on target to start construction mid-May and be done by August 31st.
Just in time for the soccer season, right, Vicente? In time for the soccer season? In time for the upcoming soccer season, right? If we finish in end of August?
Yep, it would be in time for the season. Season starts, September, October.
Okay.
They would be good for that.
Okay, good.
So we have some renderings. As you can see, they already include the Weisburn Da Vinci logo. It just looks beautiful. You can see the bleachers to the south. The sports lighting is already there, which is great. To the left, I don't know if you can see that small black rectangle that represents the scoreboard. Obviously, it wouldn't be that small, but the placement would be on the actual side of the gym. So it's just to give you an idea of what the actual field would look like eventually when it has both the bleachers and scoreboard as well. Here's another, this is an aerial view, as you can see, looking at the field from the parking lot.
Where are the bleachers again?
To the north, hold on, I'm trying to get there. Right there. These
West.
are, oh, I'm sorry, I am terrible with north, south, east. Up here.
What's the occupancy of the bleachers, Norm?
854.
I know you want.
Essentially one,
$2,000.
you wanted
2,500.
1,000. Yeah. But 844 is what we're doing. Okay, moving on, and here's another view inside. You can see the bleachers better there, the scoreboard on the side of the gym.
You know, a question on the bleachers. So, I mean, without being too jocular about 2,500, is it possible the way these are constructed such that there could be additional bleachers added at a later date behind it to just extend the roads?
Potentially, but I don't think so. As you can see, the space is very limited. And the sports lighting,
No back there, so.
You're gonna have to talk to the Nance studio owners who will be encroaching on it at that point.
yeah.
Okay. Just hoping there was a, midway, win here. Thank you.
And this is the banner that will be placed as well, next week. Okay, moving on to the Holly Glen Elementary School TK conversion project. As you know, this project was a bit of a problem child from the beginning. I'm happy to report that design has finally resumed. It resumed this month. We have completed all geotechnical investigations to satisfy the additional reports and requests from DSA. We recently, well, I didn't, but Greg met with DSA and the design team to make sure and confirm that this would be the last report or they wouldn't require any additional investigations or destructive testing. And they were very pleased with the information that was provided and allowed us to resume design. We're planning to submit to DSA on April 23rd, and this revised schedule reflects when we're anticipating that construction will start. As you can see, it'll be in January of 2025. Sooner if we can, but right now this is the timeline that we're targeting, unfortunately. Because there's a lot of structural work, DSA will do a full review on this project. So we're gonna ask something, Roger?
No.
Oh, okay. So
The time that takes.
here you can see, and we might be able to shorten the duration once we know more information, but right now we're kind of planning for the worst. As we have with other projects, we have either, compressed schedules or beat our own schedules in terms of procurement. So we're going to definitely try that here as well. Here you can see both the demolition of the existing walls. The walls in red represent the areas in between the classrooms that will be demolished. And then as well to the bottom of the screen, you see the plan that proposed. So you can see we're building 4 TK appropriately sized classrooms with restrooms in each classroom, as well as a space for collaboration space between each classroom for staff. Okay, moving on to the next TK conversion project at Del Air. This project was submitted to DSA December 21st. We anticipate receiving DSA approval first week of April, perhaps even sooner, hopefully. We're planning to start the bid process on this project next week on the 29th. And we're targeting starting construction as soon as school is out and also being done before students return in the fall. Here you can see both the demo on the top, which really it's a smaller scale project. And I'll try to see if I can get the pointer to work. We're focusing on just this area here. We're going to demolish the sink, the built-in casework, and then we are going to build the new restroom, which is required under TK. They also required a sink outside the restroom, so we're building a new built-in cabinet as well as with sink and providing, moving the whiteboard to this location. Smaller in scale, and hopefully we'll be able to keep it under budget. Moving on to our non-bond funded projects. This is the solar projects that I'm going to be reviewing at the 4 school sites. We're going to start off with Aviation Elementary School. This is a tentative timeline. These are we're targeting these dates. Engineering is currently underway. We have been holding weekly meetings with the SiteLogic team and their design and engineering team. We're targeting a DSA over-the-counter submittal. That's what the OTC means. It does not require a full review. It's just an over-the-counter. That's how they treat all their projects. We're targeting submitting all of them on April 24th. And generally, it'll take about a week or 2 at most to get it approved. If then the DSA has any comments. We are planning to mobilize at this site first, starting on May 28th, and being substantially completed by July 30th.
Forgive us
yeah,
here,
please.
let me bring you into what we're
Okay.
talking about.
Mhm.
We had had a conversation in our facilities, conversation about the charger.
Yes, EV chargers.
Are they super fast? Are they the highest level? And do we need to upgrade that to get that? We're concerned if we don't have, these might not be state of the art.
They're not, they're charge point. They're not, I mean, they're fast. They're a lot faster than your regular house charge, but they're not as fast as a supercharger.
Yeah, that
So you're looking for a supercharger?
Can we look at that, please?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. There goes more money.
But if we're gonna have these, let's make them useful.
Fundraising.
Yeah, he keeps saying fundraising. So you can see here the red rectangle around the solar panels that represents the construction fencing. The plan is to mobilize on May 28th. That doesn't mean that we're necessarily going to be putting up fencing exactly on that date. They'll start setting up, they'll bring up a construction trailer. They'll start dropping off the fence panels and just doing some surveying on the site. By the following week, we will probably start erecting the construction fencing. The plan is we have discussed this with Jason and with Blake, and we're going to be talking to the sites very soon. I have started to schedule appointments with the principals so that we can, I can bring this information to them and make them aware. The plan is for staff to park in the 135th and Aviation lot, the dirt lot. We are going to need to do some mitigation to the field before, obviously, summer, but we'll make sure it's done before. That way weeds don't grow. If we do it too early, then they'll continue to grow. So we'll make sure the area is leveled and like I said, deweeded. Okay. The next project is Del Air Elementary School. Same, pretty much the same tentative timeline. Engineering is underway, same DSA over the counter. However, in this particular site, we wouldn't be mobilizing until June 17th, with substantial completion on August 29th. For the next 3 slides, you're going to see 3 different colors. These colors represent the fence line as the project progresses. So for the first month of construction, it's the red. That's your initial footprint of construction. Then within anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks, solar projects move very quickly. They will reduce and scale down and free up that space that is outside of the green space, of the green fence line. And that generally is because they'll be focusing on the lighting and the wiring and working on installing the inverters. And then within a few weeks later, they're going to scale down once again to just a minimal footprint. As you can see, the yellow squares and rectangle that represents just perhaps even anywhere from 2 to 4 stalls at a time, where they do the final electrical work, and that's generally in a lift without any big equipment. And that would be safely coned off or fenced or however it is to make sure that it allows for staff or visitors to continue to park under the solar arrays. This project would be substantially complete by August 29th. The actual final completion is until October 7th, but that wouldn't affect us opening the parking lots. Yes.
This struck me as maybe a silly question, but obviously we have to get the power from the panels to the school.
Correct.
I'm assuming we're doing something with the ground, and will we have?
Correct, but it's all directional boring, so we won't have to be opening trenches. It's directional. It's just, it's not invasive. It's very controlled and only in certain areas. It's all the borings underground. They run everything underground.
Kind of like feeding, like you run a cable essentially, or you just cut.
Pretty much. Without the open trenches across the entire campus.
Okay, thank you.
Holly Glen Elementary School, I didn't put the legend because it's basically the same logic that applies in terms of the three different colors of the footprint. This particular site the site logic team will mobilize June 24th, and will be substantially completed September 10th. Our goal is to, have the Holly Glen staff perhaps park in some of the hard court spaces, on-street parking. So those details will have to be fully vetted. But we are definitely working on those logistics plans already. And the last site is the Weisberg Middle School campus. We're starting June 3rd. So as you can see, all of these sites are pretty much within a couple of weeks of each other. We'll be working concurrently on all 4 sites with a substantial completion of September 6th. This is another site that we can work on, allow staff to park in the 135th and Aviation parking or dirt lot.
Is the final completion date the day we apply for the IRA?
No, it has to be, I mean, we'll apply, but it has to be operational for 1 year. That's why we're hurrying up to finish these projects.
Really? So we would not see the funds from that until
2025,
I guess my,
fall 2025,
really?
or the winter probably,
And that was built into the calculation?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
But we'll be able to apply
Right.
right away and our target is to be grandfathered in, just like we were with the NEM 2.0 versus the 2.1.
And I,
hired in December 31st, right?
well, and prior to November, the election. So that's
Exactly.
the only thing that puts us at risk, so that's great. It would be January when whoever the new president is sworn in.
Exactly, in 2025.
But even prior to the election makes me feel like we have some safety.
Right. Right.
Thank you.
There was nothing else. That concludes that portion of the project update. So a couple of next steps. We will be meeting very shortly, internally first, Blake and I, to start, and my team, to review potential, projects for Series B. We'll be bringing those to the Facilities Committee next, and then to the board, following that. So that is in progress. We're going to be working on that in the next couple of weeks. Upcoming projects roadshow. As I mentioned, we have started scheduling meetings with principals, asking them to invite us to one of their staff meetings. Give us maybe 30 minutes to bring them up to speed on all of the projects that are coming up at their sites, give staff an opportunity to ask questions, and for us to be able to bring them up to speed.
And to remind me, when would Series B be put to market?
June 2025.
June 2025.
Mhm.
And there's potentially, I think we have up to D potentially?
Yes, it's 4 series.
Great, thank you.
Yes, it's a 12-year bond program essentially. Our next Citizen Bond Oversight Committee, as you know, we meet quarterly. It's on March 7th. I just wanted to put that on here so that anyone from the public that is listening, these meetings are public. They are in person. They're held here in this boardroom, 6 p.m. on March 7th. We welcome any member from the public. And as Blake indicated, this is only half of our presentation. We have a lot of projects coming up. The other half will be at the March 14th.
No, just a question on that, just because I know that we have a lot of presentations on March 14th.
Yeah.
Is there something that we need to present March 14th or that we can't move to the 22nd? Is that okay? Would that board be okay if we just push that second half to the March 22nd meeting, just to spread out?
As long as there are no decisions being made that we're delaying the
Yeah,
program.
that's what, yeah. Okay, so let's just finish this.
Sounds good? That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. Thank you.
Any questions anymore? No, I mean, thank you again.
Okay, so
The only comment I have is, we're touching every school site, as you said, and I'm glad you're taking the show on the road, if you will, for the school sites. One thing that, I want you to consider, Blake, is that, as we're touching all these school sites, I want to make sure that we haven't had a sports recreation committee, and we are impacting areas where typically, especially the parking lots where we have field use over the summer, whether it's baseball or soccer. So I'd like to make sure that somehow this information is getting out to the, not only to the rec committees and so forth, but also the community, so that they understand what's going on. So I would extend that a little bit beyond just the school sites, but also to our community at large. I think it's great information, and actually, if there's a way to put your slides on the websites where they can go and see what's happening, that would be phenomenal as well, so.
Did you hear that? Vic?
Yeah, I did.
So you might as well answer it now. I mean, we do have a plan for that, so do you wanna
Yeah.
just share real quick? And I mean, at least part of it.
Yeah.
Part of it.
We are planning to have the rec committee, and then of course, that would be a part of, with all the different, entities that use the facility, DV and, Little League and, all those different groups. And so we would definitely be sharing all this, because this is gonna trickle into like the summer programming, what we're gonna be doing over the next, couple months. And we really wanna make sure everybody is aware of the plan, the timelines, and also the parking. That's gonna be a big piece of this as well throughout this.
And it's like, listen to Christina with her summer,
Yeah,
camp, right? So.
And Christina and I are actually meeting.
Meeting tomorrow as well, so we're consistently having those meetings just to make sure we're all on the same page. This is gonna be a well orchestrated, but complex plan moving forward, but we definitely wanna make sure we're sharing with all the correct committees, and you guys are part of that process.
That's great. Thank you. It's just, it's been a while. It's been a while since the community has really seen construction. So these are exciting times.
And just to add to that, this morning, Blake, myself, and Erica Quarter met as well to try to find ways to get this information, all of our project updates out in the community. Not only obviously the staff, parents, but those extended members of the community that may not have children in any of the schools here. We have updated the website, Measure EE website, the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee website. It has all the most current updates. So as soon as I present to you, that information is then shared. So this presentation, I plan to share it at this next COC meeting, and the presentation will be uploaded. So anyone from the community can access the presentations as well as read the latest project updates under Measure EE page.
Thank you, Noemi, and thank you to the entire NAZ team. A lot of work coming up this summer. So thank you.
Rest up.
You have any? Ready? Right.
Yeah, you rest.
All right, board reports. Sorry, my computer was glitching there. So, board reports, Roger, let's start with you.
Looking forward to our follow-up meeting with our partners at Da Vinci. We have a 3x3 meeting scheduled for tomorrow. Or last week, was it last week?
Last week?
Yeah, last week, Nelson and I met with Joe Weber and Ray Santiago, the representatives from Da Vinci, 2 board members. And we started talking about some items, collaboration that we're gonna focus on into this upcoming year, so that we can move forward with some items in common. As one that's incredibly important to both of us, as it seems, is curriculum articulation is one that we're really gonna be focusing on as well. Because as our students are moving from, let's just say, our K-8, our Weisberg K-8, and they go to Da Vinci and the 9-12, we want to make sure that we're aligned with regards to our preparation, just as we prepare them, that they're also ready to receive the students, right? And that they know what we're doing and we know what they're doing, so that, again, the curriculum is aligned as well, and that we're having that conversation there with them. We also talked about several facilities projects, like the soccer field that you saw up here just a few moments ago. But we're really looking forward to continuing that dialogue and meeting on a very regular basis as well. And that's all I have for board member reports for this meeting.
Thank you, Roger.
Christina, thank you. What's happening with the collaboration between Da Vinci and Weisberg is exciting. Thank you guys, both of you gentlemen, for the 3x3s, for Joe Weber and Ray as well. I actually had a nice meeting, breakfast with Dr. Wonder a couple weeks ago, and that was very positive. We got to dream, so we didn't want to get involved in the way of the 3x3s. We got to dream about education. It was very fun. But again, the collaboration is fun to see, and we're all working in tandem towards for the benefit of students. Very exciting. Facilities working group. Nelson, thank you. Got to preview all that, get my head around it, which was helpful. So I could actually not ask as many questions this meeting. Thank you. Very excited about the PLC launch program meeting coming this a week from tomorrow. Yeah, a week from tomorrow. That's exciting. I think you may be talking a little bit about that.
Sure.
Yeah, very exciting to see that development and collaboration and data-driven decisioning moving us forward and beyond the 21st century start. Very exciting. I also wanted to point out thank you to Dr. Hasty. In the materials is an item about the Vertex, I believe is the company.
Correct.
That does, help me out. What am I trying to say here?
They're the company that gives us the warranty for
There you go.
Chromebooks.
For the Chromebooks. And I just want to point out to him and to everybody, our job is in part of fiduciary one, where it's our responsibility to kind of just validate, verify numbers. So if ever I'm asking about numbers, it's not that I'm doubting anybody, it's I'm doing my responsibility to represent our community. So I did vet those numbers, and they're beautiful numbers in that they make a lot of sense. And having got that information, I'm in a better position to say, yes, this is a good idea, and vote on this particular item. So thank you. Finally, the CSB, and actually one more after this, the CSBA finance group is talking about potentially the may revise this weekend. I'm excited to learn about that, or something to that extent.
Related to budget.
Yeah, I think it's more like an update on pulling different agencies together, you know, the reports from different agencies together kind of in one.
Where is California finance relative to schools?
I don't know if it's so much.
That might be ahead of the game.
Correct.
Yeah. But looking forward to that. And then finally, last thing, and this came to us some time ago, and I just wanted to bring this up for our review, is a couple Jewish families reached out to ask about our holiday schedule and relative to the Jewish high holidays, and I'd ask us to look into that. And not only the Jewish high holidays, but all potential minority groups who may not be represented, and just to explore what would that mean relative to our schedule. So if you get back to us on that, what our options are, and I'm looking at you because I think you were involved in that in some way. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Neil. As you can see, these are wonderful times at Wyvern. Wonderful times at Wyvern. That sounds interesting. Sounds good. You know, as you can see from the presentation that Christina and you gave, Eileen and Noemi, there's just a lot of great work taking place. And I just simply want to say, Blake, thank you for the leadership and the cabinet and the work that's taking place. As Neil said, a collaboration that's taking place right now with Wyvern and Da Vinci. It truly is wonderful work that's taking place, and you can see it's illustrated. And I share the same sentiments of my colleague. It's really great. We're all rowing in the same direction. It's exciting, and a lot of good things happening. So that's all I have to say. And I'll turn it over to Blake for district leadership reports.
Peggy, you don't have anything, right?
Yes, I do.
You do have one, sorry.
Surprise.
Go for it. It's red, it's on here.
Yes, so I just wanted to say that later on the agenda, there's an action item 10.2, which is a resolution for March as a Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month. And so to honor that, Dr. Ingram and I are putting together a parent and caregiver education night the week of the 25th, March 25th. We haven't quite nailed the date down yet, but we'll be having a meeting for all parents in the district, caregivers, and including special education families, of course, that includes everybody. And the topic's gonna be centered on neurodiversity. So we're still lining up a guest speaker. So I just wanted to share that.
Great. Thank you.
I know Rebecca would be particularly happy to hear that, so it's a shout out from her.
You have a presentation.
Just 2 slides.
I didn't know if you just.
Yeah, just to give an update, want to make sure the next time I'll be,
The next time I'll be presenting will be March 15th for the second interim report. So just wanted to give you an update on some of the assumptions that we're already making and kind of tell you where we are as we're developing that. Look, it's the next slide. There we go. So this is what we use. These are the state level. This is from the dartboard. Comes out from School Services of California. It just gives you kind of a breakdown in some of the numbers. And again, there's a lot more to this. I'm not going to get too deep into it, but that top line shows that the COLA for the current year, and you see that 0.76. A forewarning. Again, nothing official yet, but there's been some murmuring that the 0.76 might go down some more. I have not, that's just, we don't know that yet, but it's something that people are grumbling about. The Legislative Analyst's Office came out with another report kind of saying, hey, the deficit back when we were in COVID was less than what it is now. So we don't understand how Governor Newsom, how you're going to do this. So they're at odds a little bit. And so hopefully we'll land somewhere, not where the LAO is telling us. But you'll see there when we talk about funding in general, we break this all down. You see the base grant. So 2023, based on the grade of the student, you can see that a TK through 3 is $9,919 per student for that ADA. But that gives you kind of how we break that down in totality. One item to look at, you said transitional kindergarten TK add-on. We budgeted for about 50, I think, students, and we actually right now are looking at hitting about around 90. So we're gonna see a significant increase in revenues because of that. But you can imagine if you take that, 30 or so, we're talking, around 100,000 extra dollars in revenue. But again, I always say we'll have more revenue, but that means that we're probably having more expenditures. So we have to correlate that. And the expenditures aren't fully fine-tuned yet until I get to the second term where I'll present that. The CPI, just consumer price index, that is where we are and what we're calculating. That's really what affects our inflation. So we're projecting that inflation throughout for our MYP. And of course, California lottery, that unrestricted per ADA, you see that 170 stays flat throughout. And these are really the state level assumptions. Other things to note, and I'll just throw it out there. Overall, if you were to ask like average ADA, we're at right now at around $11,439 for, if you took all the students to say where are we at with all the add-ons and everything, per student, we're averaging around 11,439 students. Another one we see here, we do have an increase in enrollment. We're going to see a significant increase over the hundreds of thousands based on in revenue because of that enrollment. And it really is, and I say enrollment, I should say attendance, I'm sorry, because of the increase of attendance. And we can go to the next slide.
ADA.
ADA, I should say ADA.
What is our ADA percent now?
Okay, so we're at 95, but I'm putting this up here, and you'll see that third bullet under LCFF revenues. We have to be careful with what I project conservatively. We looked at the last 9 years, and we just looked at where we averaged between P1, that's that first certification, and then we got P2. Over the 9 years, we've always seen a slight decrease. So we kind of, last year we had an increase, but we have to look at that average. So we're really careful. So are we at 95 as of today? Once it's certified, but right now we're going to build second interim based on that 94.75 attendance ADA, which is an increase. So that's good. We went in the right direction from that 94% what we were doing. And that was a flat projection before. So that's good news. You see the total enrollment, obviously, that's we're keeping that flat for subsequent years. The UPP is staying the same, but just remember that's our low socioeconomic, English learners, foster youth. And then we have that other revenues I talked about, the RDA, the redevelopment agency money, same assumption there. And then if we get down to the bottom, this is just something you probably haven't known, but we always look at certificated staff, step and column. And so we look at them about 2% because, when we look at all the people, if they're moving over and getting that increase for the next year, we say about 2% on average, and then for classified step and column, we look at about 1%. And then workers' comp is about 1.5 as its assumption. So I think that's it. And then I just want to say we will be, I'll be working on getting the committees. So we'll have the budget committee, we have the rec committee, and then we have the tech committee needs to come together. So I'm definitely looking in April at that time, or March, April, we'll be scheduling those and having those meetings in the near future.
We may want to get the sports and rec going sooner, because usually we do it January, February, so we might want to.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe early.
We can definitely do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I do have a quick update on math. I'm sorry it's not on the agenda. I apologize for that, but I do want to share with you that we wrapped up today our first pilot at Eureka for the new math adoption to K-5. And interestingly enough, this year we, for the very first time, we surveyed the students all the way from K up. We used emojis for the little ones to pick what they wanted, which I thought was a cute idea on the part of Ms. Compton.
We also surveyed the families that were touched by the pilot, as well, of course, as our teachers. So great results coming out of Eureka, which is put out by Great Minds, and then we'll be looking at iReady now for our next pilot, which is put out by Curriculum and Associates. So on top of that, I just want to share that this year we did something a little different. You know, we do that STAR benchmark testing, but Ms. Nitsos went out to the teacher collaboration times each time we tested to review the data with the teachers, more so with the 3rd through 5th. They add on to their testing. Aside from the benchmark, they do interim assessment blocks, which are tied directly to CASP testing. So Ms. Nitsos sits with the team at grade level, goes through the data, and then they identify where the points are that they need to work on. Most recently, second semester, Ms. Compton's joining Ms. Nitsos, and Ms. Compton is our math specialist, to hear what the data says and to work then with the teachers on an ongoing basis on what they're going to work on. And I know she's going to talk more about that on the 14th of March. Ms. Nitsos will be back in front of the board at your March 28th meeting, I believe, to show you the most recent STAR data, which is coming out. It'll finish up March 22nd. This data is important. We use it in the LCAP, and we use it for reporting purposes to the school board. It's a 3rd quarter finish on their math.
I have a question. Oh, sorry, go ahead, please.
How long do the pilots last?
I think it's 8 weeks.
8 weeks?
Yeah.
And where are we with the Eureka one? Is that one all wrapped up?
It's wrapped up, yeah.
Oh, that's
Some
done.
are extending through this week because we had late start getting the materials, but we'll have plenty of time for the iReady.
And then the iReady also, okay. Great,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah.
And my question had to do with teacher supports.
Mhm.
This is not something the students may know anything about or the parents would know anything about. How are we, I'm assuming each of these two programs have teacher supports that vary and are different. I'm sure you're looking at those, but I want to make sure that that's critical to me, that we give the teachers the support they need
Right.
behind it, that the students and the parents may not see that. And I want to make sure that's emphasized appropriately.
Right, and very different surveys. So the teacher survey is more in depth. It really goes into ease of use, technology, how it affected their students, assessment, all of it. Yeah.
Thank
Take care of this.
Lake.
Okay, first, does anybody want to see turf? Anybody in the audience? No, I'm just kidding.
Not see it.
I know, I'm pretty excited about this. Had an opportunity to go to the Hollywood Neighborhood Association meeting this week. They had their annual meeting, maybe it was last week. And had an opportunity to present the district's priorities, talk a little bit about our strategic planning. Also led into talking about obviously our projects. So being able to get out in the community and do that. So that was a nice opportunity. Also had a chance to attend the WEF board meeting that was on Tuesday night. And one of the things I brought up, and it's Rebecca's not here, but she was there actually, but we're starting to address one of the comments that she's made in previous board meetings related to looking for development opportunities and maybe working in collaboration with the Ed Foundation to have a person who actually goes after some of these grants, some of these larger grants. There is a grant, series of grants that I've been tracking over the last couple of weeks related to school safety. And it's varied, so it's not all about physical safety, some of it is, but it also looks at school connectedness, looks at character education, things like that help support, students feeling safe on campus, social, emotional well-being, et cetera. Also, as Dr. Goldman shared, we have an opportunity. I want to thank Dr. Moore from El Segundo Unified School District for inviting us to attend the CSBA budget workshop and legislative workshop that's happening on Saturday, 10 a.m. at the El Segundo Performing Arts Center, their auditorium, I guess. So look forward to doing that. Also on next week, Cherie and I are taking a trip to the Cisco headquarters. And we're going to be meeting with some partners there as we look to really start finalizing these last. We basically need to get to some answers on this technology infrastructure upgrade and the materials and equipment that we'll be using. So hoping to get a little bit of maybe closure or opening, I guess, in some ways to look at some of these firms that could install, but also being able to see. Cisco offers several different lines of, so you have your network infrastructure, but also there's camera systems, access controls, and things like that. So wanting to make sure that those decisions that we start making, we'll be bringing that to the board, probably as a Series B priority, looking at camera systems and access control, of course, except for Del Air, that will have that sooner. Just want to get a more comprehensive look at some of those options and be able to work there. So doing that next week. Also want to thank Dr. Ingram, the core team, district leadership team related to student behavior and character education and so forth. It's been a long road to get to a point where we think we have a character education program that we'd like to bring to the board. And I do know in conversation, with Roger that there's a couple of things that we want to address. So Monique, I just wanted to share those items with you just so that we make sure we address them. But, just to have the board be, further understand or better understand whatever, agenda item we're bringing, whatever character education item, looking at what the philosophy of that company is related to this, samples of implementation, maybe, some outcomes that are expected, and then, basically the why. Why are we selecting this firm? So hopefully as part of that presentation that we bring back on process, I know you're going to bring back a process, which was fantastic, by the way. Really awesome, really comprehensive process that we also share some of the details about the particular company. So also want to share that on March 5th, so that's just a couple of weeks from now, we're going to have our second quarterly, well, we call it the quarterly collaborative with our labor partners, with WFA and the CSEA. We sent out a survey. We're going to start going through those results. This is to me, this is a very, very important opportunity for us to listen, hear, be able to respond to some of the items, some of the challenges, but also maybe celebrate some of the good things that are happening. So I'm excited for that. It's an opportunity for all the administrators and our union leadership to be in the same room, be able to have these conversations. So again, March 5th. I also want to share, and this is kind of professional, personal, but last weekend, my son's a gymnast and they had an event, a gymnastics event here at the Da Vinci, Widener Da Vinci gym. And I just wanted my hats off to a few people. First of all, Vicente and Nancy, what a level. This is an unbelievable level of service and quality of service that team offers to people. Just to them, a random group essentially is coming in. Security staff, their campus supervisors were, super impressive. And, you have a lot of people. I think they ended up with maybe 2,600, 3,000 people over a course of 3 days or 4 days or whatever it is. And, not everybody walks into these type of events are happy, and so you're dealing with some things, just to be frank, people are, there's lots of walking involved and waiting. And so just their ability to have good conversations with people, it was just amazing. I'm just going to say as a parent, as a, community member in some ways, I just thought it was really amazing. Want to point out their campus supervisor staff that's front and center on a lot of those things. And then lastly, to the El Segundo Police Department, who actually Chief Bermudez there authorized additional officers for that specific to this event. And so there was a police officer, El Segundo police officer, kind of mingling with the crowd, walking in and out, but there pretty much the entire time over the weekend. And so just want to also thank the El Segundo Police Department. I am preparing a message to send about two of the officers, Gilberts and Mendoza, who are SRO officers here and really just did a fantastic job in outreach, community building, and all of that. Also want to share, and I believe I shared this at the last meeting. Sorry I have a lot of updates today, but a lot going on. We have our two focus priorities in the district this year. We presented to the board mathematics, and which should probably be a future focus area for a long time. But right now, it's math and then social emotional learning and student wellness. And in that, we do hold meetings once a week. Those meetings include myself, our cabinet team, Monique, and Holly and Sarah, as we go through progress towards those weekly. So I just want to share with the board, it is something that, actually Dr. Goldman, brought that up as an option, just basically saying, if you're not looking at things on a very regular basis, that, it's hard to track. So us getting together on a weekly basis, sometimes it's short, sometimes a little bit longer, but really focusing on those priority areas and seeing progress towards it is just instrumental. So I want to thank, Monique and Sarah and Holly, who's not here, because I know it's probably, it's probably a bit tedious to have to do this every week, but just want to thank them for pulling that together. And then lastly, while I'm at Cisco, unfortunately, I'll be missing our March 4th, Professional Development Day, but really been instrumental in, I have been very involved in planning this, and I just want to say, 2018, we started our PLC process here in the district. We brought Solution Tree in, we built our guiding coalitions. Since then, we've built our win time throughout the day. We built teacher collaboration time. We have all these structures in place. And, as we were doing that, as we were building 18, 19, 19, 20, pandemic hit, kind of sidelined us for a little bit, but now we're back. And really looking forward to Solution Tree coming back out. We're going to be visited by Dr., assuming the board, approves this agenda item, Dr. David Stewart, who has really had a lot of success in helping lead districts through this PLC process. We have all of the tools already in place. Like I said, we have the structures in place. We're really excited about building that collective efficacy around student data, around student outcomes, and positive student outcomes. Talking to superintendents across Los Angeles County, actually across the state, essentially, one of the keys to those model PLC school districts, which I hope to be really over the next 3 to 5 years, is seeing this achievement gap close due to the work that's happening in those meetings, in the classrooms, related to data, and these real professional collaborative conversations with staff. We have a very professional staff. It really makes a difference for kids. It makes a difference for achievement. I send that back to Roger to, really looking at how we can improve math. I know you asked that question a couple of times, probably probably more than a couple, but you've publicly shared it the last couple of board meetings, like what do we need and what are we doing to help support, student outcomes, particularly mathematics. Say this is probably going to be the single most important mission critical initiative that we'll do over the next 3 to 5 years to see student outcomes improve, to see closing the achievement gap, to see improvement in mathematics and reading and writing and all of those other things, but we'll highlight all of those. So I'm really excited about this. Bummed I'm going to miss it, but I know Eileen will be there to lead things off, and we have a good team of people there too. So, but excited, and I know Dr. Goldman shared he may be there as well. So excited that you all will be able to be a part of that. I think that's it. Just that. Just that.
Excellent. Thank you, Blake. Sure. Wendy, do we have any public comments on agenda items?
We do not have any public comments.
All right. That takes us to consent items. Do I have a motion on item 9.1?
Yes, which, I move 9.1, which we start with that, and that takes all of that.
Takes all that?
Yeah, 9.1 through effectively 9.15, yes.
Okay, do you have a second?
I'll second.
Good. All in favor?
Aye.
No. In the future, Blake, can we do the same thing with action items?
That's pretty good.
Well, I thank you to all of you for answering questions. By answering questions in advance, that saved us from today, so thank you.
All right, action items, 10.1, adopt resolution number 2324.28, celebrate March as Women's History Month. Or do we have any? Monique, welcome.
Monique, you're probably going to just address 10.1 and 10.2 on that, right?
Good evening. I just wanted to share a little bit about what we're planning for Women's History Month. Again, the counselors are working to prepare information and activities for our students. Just like they've been doing the last couple of months, they're kind of building and sticking to this process where they're collaborating with parents through the PTA, with students who are interested in providing input. And so for this month, for the month of March coming up, we're focusing on women in history. And so there will be instructional opportunities and materials provided to teachers and activities for students to engage in during recess and lunch that focus on women in education, politics, civil rights, sports, activists, arts, health and medicine, STEM, and entrepreneurs. So we're really excited about that. The counselors are wrapping up their planning, actually meeting with the PTA at the middle school tomorrow to gather some kind of last minute ideas. And that was really successful last month with Black History Month, and including the parents in the planning. Some of our families worked for Southwest and brought in a pilot That was really a popular, interest. It was really a big interest of the students, and a lot of them attended that presentation and showed up. So excited to see what's going to happen, in March for Women's History. As Peggy mentioned, for Disability Awareness Month, we're working on a Parent Ed Night, hoping to provide, a community building opportunity for families who have students with special needs. That's something they said they were interested in when we provided a survey earlier this year. And so hopefully they will have an opportunity to meet and greet before the Parent Ed opportunity that would be open to all families in Weisburn. And the idea behind Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month is really to promote inclusion and education. And so we know that our teachers are working really hard in promoting belonging in the classrooms, and students have SEL lessons to do that as well amongst each other. And so this is really an opportunity to reach out to families and provide them with tools and education so they can work with their kids and extend that bridge among each other in our community.
Fantastic. Thank you, Lee.
Thanks.
See, now I think we're
There
ready.
you go.
Now,
Mr. President.
now I think we're ready to take a motion.
Yes.
We have a motion on item 10.1, which is the Women's History Month.
I would move 10.1 and 10.2
Thank you, Neil.
to adopt both of these, resolutions.
And do I have a second?
I will second both.
Thank you, Roger. And just for the public, item 10.2 is celebrating Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month. Got tongue twisted there. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Right. 10.3, this is the approve the PAR supplementary retirement plan for certificated non-management and classified non-management. And we're basically approving an extension for the PARS SRP for certificated non-management, and approve the cancellation of the PARS SRP for certificated management. Do I have a motion?
I'll move.
Thank you, Roger.
I'll second.
Thank you, Neil.
Quick comment, or I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna just ask, how long is the extension?
Oh, my goodness, it's through March 6th, is that right? Did I get that? Oh, yeah, here it is, sorry, yes, through March, couple.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And just to make sure clear, so yes, it's to accept or approve essentially the CERT plan for certificated, for our teachers, essentially certificated staff, and our classified staff, those that have already submitted and enrolled in the program. I believe it's a total of 6 employees. So that would take effect for them. Then we're gonna extend, now having accepted it in the extension period, the 2-week period, anybody that does decide to enroll, it's automatic. I mean, they would just, so there's no waiting time, it'd be an automatic. So I just wanted to clarify, yeah. And that's it.
Okay, thank you, Blake, for that
Sure,
clarification. We got a motion from Roger, a second from Neil, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Fantastic. Item 10.4 is consider adoption of resolution number 23/24.22, release of temporary certificated employees. And do I have a motion on that?
I'll move.
Thank you, Roger. Second, Neil,
I will second.
all in favor?
I have one comment, sorry about that. Nelson, I just want to say, this is, when you read the agenda item, it's a business decision here. It's temporary contracted teachers routinely get notice to preserve, budget options that we have. And I just want to say that, while this is an important element in managing our budget, managing our finances, it's in no way representative of how we feel about these people, who are in these positions, who are serving this important role for our students. And, just due to the nature of the work that they're doing, it is a temporary position that we have to do this every year, but,
And to that point, this legally must be
Yeah.
done prior to March
15th.
15th.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah, this always regrettably do this, but it is just fiscally required.
Um,
Need to take a vote.
yeah, you have a motion from Roger, second from Neil, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Facilities items, any objection from my colleagues on taking 11.1 and 2 together?
None, you have a motion?
Thank you, Roger.
11.1 and 11.2.
Thank you, Neil.
Second.
Thank you.
Another comment?
And comment, Blake, I'm assuming 11.2?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to share that we did have, with the appointment of Michelle Gatsby to the board, she actually had to she had to remove herself from the CBOC, the Citizen Bond Oversight Committee. It was effective on January 31st. So we did, since we had just done this process, we did confer with legal counsel. Legal counsel said that we should go to the pool of those applicants that still came, that had already submitted with the first round. So we did, and we did reach out to Kathy Gore. She's on her, just a wonderful community member, super involved and engaged, really excited to have her voice on our CBOC committee, assuming approval.
All in favor?
Aye.
Fantastic, and welcome Ms. Ford to the Oversight Committee. Action item fiscal, can we take 12.1 and 12.2 together as well?
So moved.
Thank you, Neil. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Roger. Any questions or comments?
Question on 12.1?
Yeah.
So this is an increase for services to Soliant of $90,000 from the previous 130, correct?
That's correct.
So is there if this is not approved, are there current students that would be negatively impacted right now? Or is this something that we can look at other type of services in a holistic approach? Because I know we have a presentation, I believe, at our next board meeting when we see the overall budget.
This would impact many students. We have 5 staff members that serve in multiple roles to support kids
So this is more global for the program for special
at the
ed.
different sites.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
And we had hoped by December that we were going to fade out using the Soliant aides and bring in our own staff. And we have been, HR has been, able to bring staff on, but unfortunately needs have arisen in other areas that were unanticipated. And so we haven't let those people go because we've needed them to stay.
got it.
Yeah.
And this is also a balancing act too, because I think there was also savings in one of the other programs, right? From, I think it's STAR.
That's correct. So we have a contract with Star California, and we have had, we anticipated the student would be coming in when I did board approval, or requested board approval back in August. That student didn't show up this year, so and then we had another student that moved on to another setting. So that's 2 contracts we're not going to use. So that money can be shifted over into Soliant. So we're not asking to increase more money. It's really just kind of
Just like
shifting.
a reallocation.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank
yeah.
you.
Mhm.
Jason.
It's safe to say that this is within the overall special education contract budget.
Correct. This is not the total budget, but this is also going to be included in our second interim. We've taken this and put this in our projections as well. And so we are within budget totally. So, but yeah, contracts we do to increase number of students total. We've gone up. I mean, that's it. But overall budget, we're still within the budget at this point. And then these additions will be included with what you see for second interim.
Okay, thank you. No more questions.
Thank you, Roger. So I got a motion from Neil, second from Roger on 12.1 and 12.2. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Upcoming dates and events, Blake, you want to take it away?
Sure, and I actually am gonna share that at the next board meeting, you'll notice a little bit of a change to the agenda. We're actually gonna, under our report, board member report, we're actually gonna have a principal report too, where we're gonna include some of the key dates. This is better to come, we're gonna collect them, it'll come from them, and probably at a time when more people are actually, listening. They may tune out by now in a meeting, so it gives an opportunity for principal to share it, and they'll also share a couple of highlights from their school. So we just figured that may be a good addition. Nonetheless, we do have our Weisler Middle School Winterim. That's an opportunity for families. A lot of times it's families that are, 1 grade below or a couple grades below. So sixth graders may go see 7th grade classrooms, and 5th graders will come up and see, the middle school, et cetera. And that happens, on February 28th. We also have a Raising Cane's fundraiser on the 29th, family dance night through PS Arts. Thank you, Sarah, for helping manage that and helping spearhead that. February 29th, I think Sarah's actually dancing at that event too. As I mentioned before, yeah. And as I mentioned before, we do have our staff development day, PLC relaunch. Really excited about that on March 1st. Dr. David Stewart. That's it.
Thank you, Blake. Do I have a motion to adjourn this meeting at 7:45 PM?
We have a motion.
And a second? Second. Fantastic. Thanks, everybody.